We are here. Steve Cooper from Community Crew, Executive Director, which is a charity that provides lunches to kids in the Niagara region. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Beautiful.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, bro, I appreciate it. I've known you since grade 9, Lakeshore Catholic. That would be what, 1999?
Go Gators.
That's amazing. Right? Has it been? That's been so.
I like to not admit how long it's been. I just like to say, we're legacy friends.
We are definitely legacy friends, and something, Coop, the role that you're in at this charity, I'm not shocked at all. I just told it to All Right Robin when we came down here through the Right Choice Bullpen, how you're one of my good friends from back in the day. And I'm very happy that we're still friends to this day because you're one of the good guys. And it's nice to see that you're in this role, and I'm looking forward to us talking all about it and everything.
Yeah, thank you. Good people surround with good people.
No doubt. I definitely want to have you here so that we can talk about Community Crew. I want to, let me hit this real quick. I want to talk to you about Community Crew, how you guys got started. I want to learn about it some more because all I know is a little bit of stuff that you've told me, but I want to be able to have a chat here. We've got it. We're obviously making a podcast so other people can find out about it, because until you told me about it, I didn't know about Community Crew. So, I'm looking forward to talking about it here.
Yeah, absolutely. So crash course on the history is, we talk a lot about people kind of starting things with an idea and actually just talking. And instead of making action happen, they just talk. But back in 2015, Central Community Church out in St. Catharines actually said, hey, there's a need and we have to fill a need, but what is that need? And so they went to the mayor and said, what's the biggest need right now, especially for our youth? And it was, that bellies are not being filled. And if bellies aren't being filled, then their minds and their physical activity and just everything stems from that component. So that's the need. That's the body component of our life that just needs that kickstart. So it started with one school in Edith Cavell, and it snowballed after that because, another school would be like, hey, can we do that here? Hey, there's a need over here. And then it became an entire region thing that we're currently now in 30 schools across 2 school boards, DSBN and Niagara Catholic. Currently this year, the need's so great that we're at 4,500 lunches a week to start the school year and a wait list.
4,500 a week.
A week. Yeah. So last year in 2022, we did over 130,000 lunches.
Wow. All within the Niagara region.
All within the Niagara region. All the 30 schools are within the Niagara region. And the difference for our program, because a lot of people say, well, first of all, I didn't know, just like you said. But also, they're like, well, what's the difference? Because there's a lot of different nutrition programs. There's a lot of different snack programs. There's breakfast programs. So what makes Community Crew different? And the difference is that our lunches are specific to the child. So it'd be a lot easier to sit here and say, well, cost effective, we can make a bunch of lunches and just drop them off and hope it feeds these kids. But these kids are actually kids that have been assigned based on working with the schools and the relationships that we have with teachers and principals and administrators, which do a fantastic and amazing job. And if they're listening, thank you for what you do. But we said, hey, if they need a gluten-free, if they need a vegan, if they have an allergy, if they have a religious component that says, hey, I can't eat pork, for example, and they maybe need one of our halal lunches, we cater the lunches to each unique child. So it's not even just that it's 4,500 lunches a week. There are 4,500 lunches that are catered to around each individual child's needs, and it being a healthy, balanced with some fun. So one of the things people joke with us about is like, well, you still give a sugary snack or like a fruit snack or a granola bar. And we're like, yeah, have you ever put yourself in a child's mindset and the psychology behind that and said, wait a minute, I'm sitting at a desk. There's 10 other kids around me. They're all getting fruit snacks. They're all getting granola bars. That's normal. You've now eliminated you're that kid that gets just all the healthy stuff.
Just an apple for a snack.
Right. So now you get a fun component with that. And then on top of that, so I know that's a long-winded answer.
No,
but
I like it.
on top of that, we do community partnerships with our note writing component. So every week, once a week, we'd hope we can get this further than just once a week, but we give inspirational notes in the lunches. So those are written by businesses, individuals, community partners.
Really?
Yeah, that are like handwritten notes. Not typed, not pre-printed, not anything. They are cut, stickers applied, notes handwritten, all with messaging that says like the world's better because you're in it.
Wow.
You matter.
Wow.
You're loved.
Wow.
Right? Like
that's awesome.
And crazy. And
how long have you guys been doing that? Sorry to cut you off.
Yeah. So since the beginning.
Yeah.
But it's kind of one of those things that, it doesn't get talked about as enough of being a component of what this lunch really means. And we have a couple videos on our YouTube channel that actually really spell out the real impact to that particular section of what we do. And that's like some of these kids have the most difficult year, struggled. They get to the end of the year, they're cleaning out their desk. And, I'll give you the one particular child that we got feedback from. All that was in their desk was the notes from that lunch all year long. So it was a pile of these inspirational notes.
Nice.
So it mattered to them and made a true difference. It inspired them. Yeah. So
that's amazing. That's awesome. I didn't even know that you guys did that part either.
Yeah.
So, and you said that there's community partners that are helping you write those. It's not you writing every single 4,500 a week.
Yeah. I mean, my penmanship is horrible and I'm pretty sure I would have been a doctor in another life. But it's the beauty of what we do is we're always looking for people that want to help. And some people can help do our lunch pack and volunteer. Some people can be a driver for us. Again, great, awesome. Some people can't do that because whether their work component, disability, limitations in physical activity, all kinds of things. So one way that most people can say, hey, I can make a difference is by the note writing club. And I'll give you an example. Hotel du Shaver, which is a rehabilitation center in St. Catharines. So their program there, if they hurt, if you hurt your hand and you're there to rehab the hand, or maybe you had a stroke and you're trying to reuse or try to relearn how to use your hands, they've partnered with us to actually now not only you're helping themselves, they're writing notes to help other kids. So their journey of their life transformation is helping other kids have a life transformation, all from just simply caring and being a part of what we do.
That's an amazing synergy.
Yeah.
That's awesome. How long have you guys been doing that with them?
We just started that last year.
That's awesome.
And we're going to meet with them in about 3 weeks to do like a social post about it so that other people can see and hear that actual impact. Because again, to me, that story alone is just amazing. So the fact that one person is choosing to say, I need to do this for me, but I get to help thousands of kids at the same time by helping myself.
It's amazing. So they're doing their like physiotherapy by writing.
You got it.
So instead of just writing their name over and over or whatever they get to write those notes.
Or carpentry. So sometimes they'll do the carpentry stuff as well as, and there's a little bit of back and forth.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, you're a smart guy, eh?
I don't know. Maybe back in the day I was a little bit smarter. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. To be honest with you, so one of my top 5 strengths is ideation. I love thought processes, but I love connection. And I think Community Crew was started because of it was supposed to be about how we connect to each other and how we can inspire each other to be who we were created to be. And I think that every time I get up every day, that's what I get to live now, a life of fully and completely.
Yeah, because you've been doing a lot of good things. It's just a little bit of a pivot from Community Crew. You've been a good guy for a long time, doing a lot for the community. Like when you're cool with me talking about Meridian and stuff.
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. My past, my history. I'm good. All fair and love and war, right?
Yeah, no doubt. Because when you're at Meridian, I thought that was a really good fit. Seeing it from my perspective, because you've always been such a good, wholesome guy, and as far as I know, Meridian, still being in the financial world, focuses on the triple bottom line and the social aspect of it. I know there's a lot of banks that, I don't know if they don't pretend to or they pretend to be part of social, but to me, it seems like from what I see, Meridian actually tries to help in the community. So when you were there and you were partaking in different charity type stuff, I thought that was a pretty good fit from that perspective of it. So it's nice seeing you now being over. Well, I'm happy to see you anyway, but that you being fully in a straight up charity makes a lot of sense to me anyway, seeing it. But yeah, you were getting a lot of practice over there before. You've done a lot of community stuff.
I have, yeah.
Like,
So
a lot.
ever since I was basically a teenager with cadets, right? So I was in 2966 Royal Canadian Army Cadets in Fort Erie there, and I think that was my first kind of taste of, I was meant for more. And then I've been lucky because, all my employers that I've had in the bank over a 20 plus year in banking. So Meridian, Penn Financial, another credit union as well that has a truly local commitment component, and RBC even. But all three of those all committed to what I wanted to do in the community avenues. And it didn't matter if it was a one-time event. It didn't matter if it was an ongoing commitment. I've had really good leaders, I think, that actually believed in that who I was and that it was a part of me, and then inspired me to continue to do that.
Nice.
Through my roles.
Nice. Yeah, you've been doing a lot of different stuff. I remember you were doing a lot of stuff with hockey before too.
Yeah, still
right?
doing.
Yeah?
Yeah, so that's Hotel du Shaver does the Celebrity Ice Cup, which is coming up in February again.
Nice.
So you'll see me do fundraising for that.
What's that? Give a little plug to that. Bad boy.
Honestly, that's probably one of my mental health components for my own life.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I get to help Hotel du Shaver, which is Niagara's only rehabilitation center for complex care. And a lot of people think, and I'm getting a little plug for Hotel du Shaver just because people don't realize if you have to get to use their services. So you get hurt, have a stroke, and it doesn't matter age. Age is not the matter. People think I get old and I have to use those resources. That's not the case. Some of the most recent patient treatments were athletes, 20 to 30, that went through a traumatic experience and had to go through a complex care and rehabilitation. Well, Hotel du Shaver does this event, and I've been doing it since it started. So now it's going into the 11th year, again, removing COVID from that whole scenario. And all the funds raised goes towards usually equipment that's not paid for by the government. Everyone thinks, hey, big hospitals and complex care facilities, everything's paid. No, it's us. Us as hardworking people and businesses that actually contribute to having that. And whether you don't need it right now, a family member might need it. You might need it in the future. So I've always believed that, you just give because it's a good thing to give, but I get to have fun at the same time. And I think that's always a win-win. I love hockey. It's been in me since I was
no doubt.
Born and raised. I love my Leafs, even though they don't love me some days.
I feel I'm on the Leafs train too, bro. It's painful.
It is.
It's painful.
But so how it works, you raise money and the top team gets to draft a former NHLer.
Oh, nice.
Everybody gets one. You play on their, 3 games, and it's a big fun event. And honestly, it's really cool. If you don't get a chance to sign up right away, I would encourage you to join a team. I'm sure somebody needs something. I happen to enter my own team, Team Koopa Loops.
Nice.
So it's not corporate backed. It's basically just a bunch of individuals that give a crap about their community and want to do good. Last year, we drafted Brad May. So Niagara native, played for the Niagara Falls Thunder.
Nice.
Stories that you hear, Stanley Cup champion.
Yeah. See, I don't know a whole lot of hockey players.
So for me as a hockey guy, and if you're a hockey person listening to this and thinking that's right up my alley, you're in the dressing room with these guys, you're hearing the stories, getting tapped on the shoulder to go fight people. It's just...
So how does it actually work? Because I've never been to the event or anything. If somebody wants to partake, they can still register a team now? And how does it all work from the ground? Because I have no idea.
Yeah, so it hasn't been announced yet. It just happened to be at the Hope for Motion charity fund event they just did last weekend.
Yeah.
And I was like, am I gearing my team up to go again? Or
right.
And they're like, yes, it's going on again.
So it's been going on for a few years, right?
Yeah. So this 11 years ago.
Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, it's been a long time, and each year it's raised more and more money.
Nice.
And I'm talking over $100,000 kind of mentality of being raised.
Wow.
So it's a big deal because that's multiple beds and equipment and that. So to me though, if you're a hockey person, you're listening to this just like I am, is even if you don't have you can't enter your corporation or business into entering a team, because there's a commitment for fundraising, right?
Yeah, I'm sure.
That's the point.
Yeah.
You can sign up as an individual and try to join one of those teams.
Gotcha. Because a team, I'm guessing you register a team, it's got X amount of dollars you got to put up to be able to do it.
Correct. It's usually about $8,500.
Right. So then you field a team of what, like 10?
15.
15. Okay. So then you spread it out. And then what? Every team just has to figure out how they want to generate that money, right?
Correct.
A corporation might just put up that money.
Right.
Somebody like you might like run some whatever to raise up the money between the 15 people that want to do it.
You got it.
Yeah. That's pretty sweet.
And then the people who raise the most money, you get the first overall pick. So now out of the list of alumni, if there's a guy you really, really want to play with,
right,
you're like, hey, I gotta get my fundraising game on, and I gotta keep going.
So there's a minimum to get in, and then the top it goes. That's how the draft picks work.
You got it.
Oh, that's a cool idea.
So it's not always the major name that might go first. It's just the fun guy.
Yeah, for sure.
Right?
For
like
sure.
Andre Waugh, I think went first overall last year, and people are like, who's that guy? Well, look him up. But he's hilarious.
Yeah.
Like, again, this is all about an experience.
Yeah.
Right? If you've played hockey long enough, you know this isn't everyone's getting the same T-shirt or, towel. There's no champion. The champion's the charity. So this is about having fun with the
There's
boys.
not a lot of fights out there.
No. Yeah. And my team's always co-ed, which is another amazing thing.
Nice.
Because it's an open forum hockey style, again, fun tournament.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's just a good time and for a great cause. Because again, I've had family members how to use that after a stroke or circumstances and the amount of resources that's required, but also the impact of that treatment. One of the most amazing stories was Sarah, who, if you get a chance to hear her story, she was a professional volleyball player and then had this tragic event where she was told she was going to walk again. She wasn't going to, there was just really no hope kind of mentality for her. And then all of a sudden she's presenting at Celebrity Ice Cup last year, standing in front of everybody, explaining how Hotel du Shaver's equipment and treatment has transformed her life, that she's walking again. You wouldn't even know that she was like that over a year ago. It just is
a
insane.
year ago. Wow.
Yeah.
Amazing.
So anyways,
yeah, that's amazing.
that's one component of what.
So yeah, just like I love that tournament. I just want to plug a little more. So when it actually goes down, how many games do you play, and how does that all work?
Yeah. So usually it's
and I know this isn't Community Crew, but I just think it's
okay.
super cool. Yeah.
I'm all about community.
Yeah, totally.
Right. And so that's what Community Crew is. It's community and connection. So for me to get a chance to talk about all things that intertwine together to benefit Niagara, to be stronger together, I'm all for that.
Coop, you're such a good guy. That's why we've been friends so long. You're such a good guy, bro. Good stuff.
So Thursday night is the draft night. That's like the fun night because that's where you're trying to, raise a couple. Everyone's like, throw another $50 in. Can you call your friend and call, have them
get us some more.
Yeah. So that's the fun. And then we have dinner and whatever. And then we find out who's on whose team. And then Fridays we play 3 games.
Okay.
So all in one day, but it's done, right? Then you still have your weekend.
Yeah.
And so family time and everything else is important, which a lot of times you forget, like all these golf tournaments and charity events, like when you're on a Saturday or they run into at a weekend, it's just sacrifice for your family time. And me being a dad, it's important to me to kind of say, I still love to do this, but I also have to balance and make sure that my family is number one too.
Totally.
So this event does that. I get a Thursday night into a Friday night I'm available.
Yeah.
Still have my entire weekend. And guess what? I did an amazing things. So last year, my team raised over $16,000.
Wow.
Of everyday Joes, no pun intended.
Yeah. How'd you guys do it?
So all multiple events.
You've done so much fundraising and different stuff, bro. Yeah. How'd you do it for that one?
Good. We did. We did a hockey trivia night at Silks.
Nice.
Out in Niagara Lake, which is again our sponsor because Joel is on our team, the owner there.
Nice.
And
Silks is
it's a restaurant, so Country Kitchen.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. So the one night is a Monday night. I think they're closed. So we just took over the restaurant and ran an event. We had former Stanley Cup champion Rick Walmsley, the goaltender for the Flames, Leafs, Habs, Blues, come and sign autographs. We had a fun trivia night. It's a reason just to get people together, have a couple drinks, and really just enjoy connection and community together. But we did other kind of raffles and like a booze raffle, and it always sells because hey, everybody enjoys their holiday top ups.
Nice.
And then it's just some of it's just general asking, right? Hey, can you?
Yeah.
Because this year is going to be a little bit difficult. Like inflation and cost of living and housing crisis.
Yeah, I kind of wanted to touch on that a little bit because there's definitely a lot of people feeling more of a pinch now. Like I see it in my industry. So I'm like, I wonder how that's going for Coop, because like things in the real estate industry have slowed down quite a bit. Not came to a standstill, but with interest rates going up, that's slowed things down. And yeah, inflation's real. And it seems like there was a lot of money sloshing around for a few years there. And from the people I talked to, it seems like it's not just real estate has slowed down. So I imagine there's extra pressures on charities, because as good as charity is and everything, I'm guessing people as big as their hearts are, they still got to have the spare coinage around to make it all work.
You got it. So all my friends in the charity sector are all feeling the pinch in general.
You guys too, eh?
Yeah, because
interesting.
What happens for everybody is, good people tend to give even when they don't have it. It's just how it is. And there comes a point where you have to say, like, sometimes that extra $20, that extra $50 I was giving, I need to, with groceries especially right now, I got to feed my own family before I feed kids across the network. But the beauty of what we do is there's all kinds of ways to help. Yeah. So I love to kind of say to people, there's a will and a way to everything. And it's not all monetary. So for example, there's a Many Seeds app, which is a free downloadable app. And if you don't know much about it, I'm going to give a plug because I think it's the most amazing thing ever. So it's a Niagara-based app. Yeah. It connects. It's called what? Many Seeds.
Many Seeds.
Yeah. So advertisers, when you traditionally pay a YouTube channel, you pay 30 cents per view or something like that, right?
I wish I was getting that much, but keep going. Yeah.
No, but pay. Anyway. So cost to pay it. So if you were going to advertise through this, it's about 20 cents per view, but the charities get 6 cents per view. And how it works is each person that downloads it, you're allowed to watch 3 12-second ads a day. They're all Niagara-based ads.
Really?
So it's Niagara Market.
Interesting.
And essentially you watch those. I grab my coffee in the morning and I just hammer out watching, a couple ads. And I get to pick up to 3 charities of choice. So Community Crew is one of those charities that you could pick and it feeds kids, but maybe Wellsprings is what you're wanting to support, or some of the food banks in your area. Like there's different charities that are registered on that platform and they get revenue from you watching ads. So now you're turning your time, less than 1 minute a day, into money for
a donation towards it. That's pretty sweet.
So we just started that in March and we're over $800.
Come on.
So real money from people's time is 400 lunches.
That's amazing. By downloading the app Many Seeds.
Many Seeds.
And just spending some coffee time or washroom time. And then you can literally help a charity in Niagara just by watching a few ads.
You got it.
That's amazing.
Yeah. And if you're a business and you're listening to this, or even yourself, and you're thinking, hey, what's another advertising route that, again, repetitive ads traditionally from a psychology perspective will sink in with more people and think of you more often. You might want to think, maybe I run a 20 cent per view ad, try it out. You can see how it goes, but it's because it's Niagara based. Yeah. The market's already
super
there.
Targeted. Yeah.
So
that's interesting. Never heard of that. I love it. That's interesting. I hope that some people hear about that. I'm definitely going to download it and take a look. Yeah. So how many charities are on there about?
There's over 20.
Yeah. Eh?
Yeah. And the more, like as I've been doing some of the charity rounds and meeting with other charities, I've been telling them they need to register. Because to me, it's first of all, it's passive income. And right now, everything is hurting for true donation stuff. So passive income's easy. It's just, you don't have to do much other than just say, hey, download this and pick us, right? And if you're already a believer or supporter in our charity, it's an easy component. So besides Many Seeds, then you've got also time components. Can you do our note writing club where you're at home writing notes, or you're in your business on the lunchroom? You just throw a couple of them together. After a while, you got a pile of them. And now all of a sudden we take them, we put them in lunches.
So how does that actually work? Just logistical, like, do you guys have specific pages that it goes on? So
there's 2 routes. Some businesses are like, we'll just buy colored paper and cut them up. We send a template to you, and we send you a list of kind of like suggested sayings. Yeah. Just because obviously you can't put inappropriate or and you can't use religion in there. Just because, again, we serve both school boards and we want to make sure it's cohesive for everybody.
Neutral.
Especially, exactly.
Yeah.
But you can do that, or we actually can produce kits to you where we give you the colored paper and some stickers and that.
Does the business buy them?
So ComCrew will buy it if we provide the kits. I'm trying to then do it to a model where businesses actually that's their donation. So they keep the receipt of how much it costs them, and we can give them a tax receipt for buying the material.
Yeah.
And then that way we're not actually fronting the cash from the program of the lunches, but they are an integral part of that's the beauty of our lunch component is actually those inspirational notes are a part of the synergy and the love that is cared for in those lunches. So to me, as much as there's a cost, if I have to buy them, it's worth it. It's a cost that essentially to me is meaningful for these kids to feel that there is someone else, another human being that cares for them, that loves them, and really says, you are better in this life because of everybody else around you that believes in you and wants you to be more than what you think you have been dealt or that life has thrown at you.
Yeah, I think that's amazing. I think that surrounding people and as much positivity is awesome. I see that in you, bro. I try to run my life that way. I mean, you've known me a while. I think being positive helps a lot of people in any way. If you can help spread that and encourage that, especially amongst kids, I think that's amazing. But with the lunch too, we're talking about the lunch, but this is the containers that lunches go in.
These are our biodegradable lunches. So you can see them there. Yeah. So when ComCrew was started, obviously, we didn't have these. They were just generalized, whether it be brown bagged, a lot of it Ziplocked and everything else. But then we start actually thinking about your footprint in the world, right? And so we evolved into understanding what is our real impact. What are we teaching these kids if, it's all just, again, garbage goo and really just, again, not helping about the earth and the components. So we're always looking for ways to incorporate a biodiverse structure. So for example, even some of the things I'm looking at moving forward as we enhance our lunch program, our note writing program is enhancing it to bookmarks. And I'm right now sourcing and having a pilot project that it's bioseed bookmarks. So imagine the inspirational note, you're loved, the world's better because you're in it, now being on a bookmark that the kids are going to keep and or take home and have with them. And then when it gets beat up, wrote on too many times, whatever the case may be, they can just plant it.
That's awesome.
Okay, so these are the things that ComCrew is supposed to be. Is it's more than a lunch program, and I think a lot of people see us as just the lunch component, but there's so many layers and so many human beings behind that love these kids.
Trying to have as positive of an impact as possible.
You got it. So a lot of the schools have a compost program at the schools. So this actually goes into that compost program.
This is compostable.
Correct.
This does not go in the trash.
No. Now, if they don't have the program, it can go in the garbage, but it's still biodegradable, so it won't actually have a negative carbon footprint in the garbage system.
That's sweet. I like that a lot. So then, what you mentioned a little bit about having a fun component and everything. How do you guys, what's in the lunch? How do you decide? How does that go down?
Yeah, so we use, obviously, Health Canada, Niagara Nutrition guidelines. And then, so that's your, making sure you're healthy grain, your vegetables. So traditionally, we'll have the cucumbers that are donated from farms. So Duchante Farms, shout out for them.
Nice.
So we cut up a lot of cucumbers, make sure kids, they're picky, right? Textures.
Yeah, no doubt. I can only imagine.
So the veggies are a tough one, but cucumbers seem to be the consistent one that actually gets eaten.
Right.
But you also, some of these kids, and I'm not trying to stereotype because it is what it is, but some of these kids, they're lucky if all they get is a prepackaged, processed thing in their lunch from a parent. That's all they're used to seeing. So they don't even know what a vegetable is.
They're not used to that. Yeah.
So even if this program introduces them to it and over a period of time gets them to understand that that's actually a part of what you should be eating, and there's ways to access that food, that's the intention of this. So it is a well-balanced meal. our seniors in our program. So you'll say like, well, what if someone's in grade 8 and, maybe they're ready for football grade 9 and they eat a little bit more than normal. We usually give them double the meat inside of it, right? So we identify that there's a greater need for those, and then they're labeled for basically getting a senior lunch. Not to be confused with a senior in our society, which some people are like, oh, we're feeding senior. No, it's not that.
A senior in school. So this is designed for grade school. This isn't for high schools.
Correct.
Yeah.
So kindergarten to grade 8.
Yeah.
And then right now, Calm Crew is in talks and transition. Like what happens when kids in our program get transitioned to high school? So there are conversations with grade 8 principals and teachers at the high school level. And then there's some programs that will facilitate and support. But Calm Crew is exploring opportunities to be like, what's our part in that, right? So
There's such a need for this. Like you said you did about 130,000 lunches last year.
Yes.
And
there's kids on the wait list.
Yeah, I was just going to say how many, you probably don't know how many lunches are needed per year, but you guys are not facilitating everybody that's hungry every day.
No, so we're a part of many organizations, the main 3 in Niagara. You've got Niagara Nutrition Partners, which is partially government funded, Foods for Kids, Niagara, and Community Crew. So people are like, well, what's the difference? So this is where, we're all getting together to meet in a couple of weeks because I think we can have more synergy together.
Nice.
And just talking it out. But like Niagara Nutrition Partners traditionally is like heavy on breakfast program, snack program, and in lots of schools to support anybody who needs food, not necessarily just kind of identified or targeted.
Right.
And then Foods for Kids and Community Crew are more targeted as in like true need component. Calm Crew is doing the healthy lunches. Foods for Kids Niagara, which again, if you don't know about, I would again employ you to read about. So they do a weekend pack and summer packs for kids.
Oh, wow.
So imagine you're a kid, you're starving all week. So maybe you get a lunch from Calm Crew. And then all of a sudden it's Friday and now you're panicked because now you're not going to have any food until Monday's breakfast program. Well, if you've been identified and you kind of reach out or you get support through Foods for Kids, they actually do a surprise sneak attack, bag full of food into the kids' backpack, zip it up before they leave on a Friday.
Really?
And then they have food for the weekend.
Wow.
So we all work together. It's like 90 to 95% the same families that we're supporting because it's the same people that are struggling.
Right.
And they're trying to access any means to help and support. So, I look at that and think like this is an important and integral part, but we're only one piece of the puzzle. But together, we can all do it better if we talk.
Yeah. So you've been in talks with them to get together and have a sit down and see.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Yeah.
It's tough because in the old charity sector, a lot of it was siloed. They're my donors. This is, it's my thing. Like this is what I need to make myself look good. And so when you eliminate that in a thought process as a leader and you say, well, what's the mission? Is the mission helping kids? Well, then it shouldn't be about what Calm Crew is doing. It's about how are we delivering on helping these kids to the maximum potential that we can.
There's synergies for sure. I know, because I was just thinking, just before you said that, I was thinking like how Open Arms Mission is right around the corner from here. And I'm like, do I even bring up them? I'm like, because are you guys competing? Like, I don't know, but I like your
I have no
process.
attitude of a competition.
Yeah.
To me, it's a matter we're all doing amazing things.
Yeah.
And if I can help and connect,
yeah.
to
There's
me,
synergies.
Yeah.
There's synergies. Yeah, for sure. That's awesome.
And there's pockets in different communities. What I'm finding I'll give you an example. I thought there was a need for lunches in Port Colborne because of the poverty data. And our lunch program was all designed around, the schools that we're in is all designed around the data from StatsCan for poverty data, which is old, by the way.
Right.
And even when the new one comes out, it's going to be basically 2020 data, which is basically a farce.
Yeah.
So I've been in talks with the region and they're like, hey, by the way, we're going to get this data to you, but obviously it's going to be dramatically different today than it was in 2020 because even CERB payments were out and people had at least a little bit of boost of money.
Yeah.
And now we're seeing a whole different trend because of costs and that. But with Port Colborne, I reached out to Port Cares. So I have a huge tie to Port Colborne because of, Gators.
Yeah.
In the community, I know a lot of people still there. And I found out that, Port Cares does support the schools with lunch programs. So here,
nice.
my brain was like, I need to get into Port Colborne, but I have no money to do that. But then I need to find out how many kids need it and how can we do that. But now I'm like, there's somebody already there.
Oh, nice.
And that's okay.
Yeah.
That it's not Calm Crew.
Yeah.
If anything, I would be like, how do I help Port Cares?
Yeah, that's
Because
awesome.
I think that's how our community gets better, is instead of it being like, oh, they're there now and now I can't go there or do that, it's got to be about, now how do I help that?
Yeah. What do you guys got going on? How can we help? How can you help me? Where's the synergies?
Yeah.
Yeah. That's awesome. Bro, you got a lot of good stuff. The lunch. What's you're saying cucumbers and stuff?
Oh,
is
sorry.
the lunch? Yeah. I'm a food guy, so I'm like trying to peel it back to the food. So like,
Yes.
in a lunch, is there a like you kind of said, typically like a protein?
Yes.
Or like I know you said that there's a lot of modifications for different diets and all that stuff, but the general like type of lunch, what would a general type lunch look like? Or
Yeah, so some of our simple menus, but sometimes we'll get donations and it's food.
Oh, okay.
So we do cater different, but I'll give you the example for what the kids love. The kids love bagels. Easy.
Nice.
So bagels and cream cheese is kind of like a traditional staple in there. And then you're
Nice.
getting your breads for the day. Pepperettes are easy sell, easy
Nice.
grab. Again, some of these kids are too young. We had to be mindful of, you can't put too much complex things in the lunch.
Totally.
Another sell on the menu for the kids is just like our turkey wraps. So just turkey meat in a wrap rolled up. Here you go. With cheese on the side for your dairy. Yogurt tubes, easy again, sell, good to
Nice.
go. Again, your probiotics are in there. Then you got your vegetables, granola bar or fruit snack. So we'll always give a snack in every lunch, and that's why we do snack drives. So even sometimes with corporations, they're like, we can't do this, we can't donate, we can't do that. But we're like, can you put a bin at your office and encourage your staff, everybody to bring in, one peanut free snack? Because even then, that's hundreds of dollars that essentially
Totally.
everybody's chipping in for, but then it saves us thousands of dollars in buying these snacks
Totally.
in the lunches. So yeah, it's we do like to do a one-off fun and a new one. So focaccia bread with marinara sauce, for example.
Nice.
We did a chicken finger when we had the kitchen at 240 Scott Street at the old Central Church building, which we're now in our new facility, which I didn't bring up. But that was one of our challenges. We had to find a new space.
That's
to
last time we
start.
spoke. You were looking for that.
Right.
Yeah.
So we had a beautiful opportunity to connect with Grantham Optimist Club, which is a youth club. Optimists are around the whole world, really. But at the same time, there's different ones in the region here in Niagara. Mm-hmm. And their facility there was perfect for us because they said, we want to help the community, and it's not being operated in the times that essentially we needed to use the space in the kitchen to create these lunches.
Yeah.
And again, it's basically at free. Like
That's
you
amazing.
can't in commercial space, and I'm sure you
Yeah,
can
bro.
attest to this, to have parking for 20 plus people, space in the kitchen, storage space for tables, all for free and not the $4 or $5 grand a month.
That's amazing. I know when we talked, you were on the hunt.
Yeah.
And I was like,
Everywhere is like, 4,000, 6,000, it'd be maybe 2,000, but then you've got to do this and that. And
yeah,
So amazing partnership.
nice. And that's with,
Grantham Optimist Club.
and they are, what do they do?
So they do a million things, but
Yeah.
the main thing they do is help youth organizations. Their main program they have there is the baseball club. So youth baseball plays there. So many people I've met over the last, especially couple of years, they're like, yeah, I played ball there. Like, yeah, I was a kid, I grew up and I did that, or I coached there and I helped kids. But they do stag and does there. They used to do bingos. I think I played in a poker tournament there a while
Sick.
ago. I mean, yeah, so
For play chips.
yeah, for fun.
Yeah.
I lost anyways. It doesn't matter.
Yeah, it's all good.
So I just donated.
Yeah.
And yeah, they help Scouts Canada and a bunch of other things.
That's awesome.
So they do a lot for the community, and they're not great with talking about that.
And they're a big organization.
You got it. Yeah. And Optimist Internationals across the world.
Wow.
And our partnership actually has sparked a conversation with Optimist International, because we're one of the first to do this. Like, wait a minute, we're working in tandem to help these kids, and they wanted to learn more about, like, how is that possible? How did this come to be? And then, like, how is it working? Because that model can work in other communities.
Yeah, that's awesome.
So yeah, Optimist International is actually asking to come and I'm going to have to do a presentation about, how did this come to be? What are we doing together? What's the impact in the community?
That's awesome.
So yeah, it's super exciting.
So now a quick pause not pause, but people that are listening now, if they're still listening to us talk about this and they're not a business, they're just a regular coop. What can they do to help? What are the different things? I know you've kind of mentioned it, but let's just, somebody's like, this all sounds amazing. How can I help? What would we tell them?
Yeah. So there's a will, there's a way. Number one is many seeds. You can do that every day without even blinking an eye.
Start with that.
That's the easiest kind of say that translates to real money for us. Number two
Download
is
that app, Many Seeds, and start watching it every day. Once a day for however.
it's up to 3 ads a day, 12 seconds are each ad. But if you just set a reminder in the morning with coffee, easy money for us.
18 cents a day going to you guys.
That's it.
Easy game
See?
from anybody.
Times thousands.
Yeah,
Imagine
exactly.
thousands of people doing that for the charity.
Don't make me do the math, but that sounds great.
Compound interest, carry the one.
Let's go.
Number two is obviously volunteer time.
Yeah.
Right. So we have tons of different ways, all kinds of time during the day to help. So some people like early mornings. Hey, come and help us early in the morning, midday, afternoon. Drivers to the schools to deliver the lunches. We're a little short on, so people have maybe they can steal a 30-minute or an hour break from their workday. Basically, come pick up a bin or two and then drive it to a school, and you get to be the hero. I'm the hero with the cape, basically dropping these lunches off.
And if they wanted to do that, they'd be doing that at your facility in St. Catharines.
Correct.
Which is where again?
So 188 Linwell, Grantham Optimist Club. There is another opportunity in Fort Erie. We are partnered with Strong Fort Erie Neighborhoods. They do our 3 Fort Erie schools. So that's John Brant, Peace Bridge, and Our Lady of Victory. So they're right outside of Our Lady of Victory. So people are listening to this and they're from Fort Erie Market and they're like, hey, that's my hometown and I want to make a difference. Then I encourage you to talk to Strong Fort Erie Neighborhoods and mention that you are listening to this podcast and that, community crew and Strong Fort Erie Neighborhoods are there. Otherwise, there's tons of ways to volunteer time. Driving doesn't take much. You come and pick up around 10:30, go deliver to the school, bring back the bins. It's less than an hour a day. You could even just say, I'm going to do that once a week. So, hey, I'll do it every Thursday or I'll do it every other week.
You guys will accept people doing it that way. It doesn't have to be every day.
No.
No.
And we do lunches Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. So 3 days a week.
Okay.
We stay away from the Monday, Friday only because there's programs at some of the schools and PA days and holidays.
Right.
It's just too complex and parents need to know, instead of guessing when they're providing in the program, you get it Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday.
Yeah.
And if you can't do time, you could do monetaries. One of the things we encourage people to do is a coffee a week, $3, give or take, depending on the type of coffee you're buying, is $12 a month. So we have a 12 for 12 program, which is a coffee a week challenge. So that 12 for 12, if you do $12 for 12 months, is 72 lunches. So 72 lunches, if you just give up one coffee a week, is
Hold
something.
on. Say that again.
72 lunches.
From $12?
From $12 a month. So if you do
$12 will do 72 lunches.
72 lunches in a year.
Holy cow.
Yeah.
You guys are making these lunches for a good price.
Yeah. So including the biodegradable. So again, we could go cheaper, but the whole point of what we do is this includes costs for the notes that are inspirational.
You guys are stretching your money pretty well.
That's it, sir. Hey.
Yeah, keep going. Sorry, I'm trying to do the math. You guys are making these lunches for a good price.
Yeah, it's approximately $2 a lunch,
all
in. So that's every piece that goes into the component for that lunch. And again, we know that we could do it slightly cheaper, but again, the environment is also a component of what we do.
Cheaper, bro. I'm shocked at how cheap you're doing it. That's pretty impressive.
Yeah. And then the dietary stuff sometimes stretches us halal, for example, to $3.
For sure.
But that being said, it's just easy to say it's $2 a lunch. It's just simple math.
Yeah. And
if you do, again, the coffee a week challenge mentality, I'm just going to give up that one Starbucks coffee. And I don't know about you, but obviously there's a difference between Tim Hortons and Starbucks, but
totally.
A lot of people at Starbucks probably listen to this and being like, yeah, I enjoy Starbucks coffee. Well, it's probably $4.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Plus tax. So, really, if you gave one of those up a week, I don't know. I can't give up my coffee, but
No doubt. You got to run on something.
That's it. But 12 for 12 is one of the easiest ways we can. It's not a big financial commitment, but for the everyday person that says, wait a minute, I can feed either 72 kids one time, or I can feed one kid 72 times in the year. Either way you look at that,
That's unreal.
all from just a coffee a week, in your brain, and that you can chunk it out for that month.
Yeah.
It's something that I think most people can say, I can do that.
Yeah, that's a good program to get people involved on that one, because that's a lot of people, not everybody, but a lot of people can make that happen to stretch that out. Bro, I can't believe you guys can make that stretch so far. You're doing good things.
That's it.
Because sometimes charities got a bad rep for not having money go so far. I'm sure we've heard about that. I don't know if you want to get into that or not, but I've definitely, I'll just comment on that. And I've heard people say, like, I don't like to give to charities because there's so many charities that it gets watered down so badly before it gets down to the cause. And it doesn't sound like that's the case here.
Yeah. So the hard part about it is it costs money to make money.
Yeah, totally.
You have to treat it like a business. I think the good thing for me coming in is I have a 20 plus year finance background.
Yeah.
Between a leader
Yeah.
in the financial industry, but also a wealth professional
Yeah.
that helped people manage their monies, including businesses. So, I mean, that being said, it's also a welcomed sight in the not-for-profit sector. But let's not kid ourselves. I mean, it does cost money to do things.
Yeah, for sure.
But
for sure,
the
there's
bad rap
expenses.
is, the bad rap is just because it's like, oh, well, I can write that off, right? Oh, it's not my money. You're right. It's not my money. It's donor money.
Yeah.
And I think, my attitude is like every dollar needs to be accountable, because if I had to sit across from you right now and you said, hey, Cooper, I gave you $100, where did that go?
Yeah.
I can tell you exactly where it went, right? Because that's how it is.
Yeah.
Some places will be like, well, we had to, do this and we had to do that. And well, no, that shouldn't be the conversation. It should be very transparent. I believe in accountability and transparency. It's
Nice.
and part of that is the accounting background and the finance background.
Totally. And I think anybody that is watching this, if they weren't already sold on all the things that you've talked about that the organization does with you at the helm of it, I think that's even more icing on the cake, because, yeah, bro, you do bring all those things to the table, because that I've heard people that I've talked to not want to donate to charities. There's some charities I don't even know, because I don't pay attention as much, that some people tell me they would never donate to. And I'm not even saying Niagara, probably the bigger ones.
It's crossed everywhere.
Yeah, because they're just like 2 cents from $100 makes it down to the cause. Like, I'm sure you've heard these different things, whatever they are. There's some charities with the bad reps. This is not one of those.
No.
This is far from one of those. Yeah, bro, it's amazing. Yeah. I love it. I love it. What else? What else? I know that there was other things I wanted to talk about. Yeah,
some of our events. That was the other way.
Oh, yeah. All right, Robin brought that one up. Yeah,
we needed her here to say it.
Yeah.
So we always have fun events going on. The best thing you can do is follow our socials. We're creating
is
so communitycrew.ca is our website, but you can also follow us on Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn. So business professionals listening to this can also say like, hey, like it's not just the social component. Mm-hmm. And the big thing with that is there's always groups and organizations that are looking for a charity to actually like rally around and have a connection to the story. Mm-hmm. And I'm always listening to businesses that want to do that. Mm-hmm. And so we've been privileged and lucky that people are just calling us saying, I've got this golf tournament and we would love to pick you as the charity.
Amazing.
Because we've heard the stories. We've seen your videos, right? Well, on YouTube. So, and we have a YouTube channel. Haven't posted in a while. There's a couple videos, but I'm going to warn you, like the one is a heart tugger.
Yeah.
Because it's us reading a note from a parent. Mm-hmm. And explaining what we do. But the events are fun. So there's a trivia night, there's a golf tournament, there is a comedy show that's like some hypnosis comedy event. So I'm sure it's going to be hilarious. And because I thought it was just, hey, I'm getting hypnosis, but no, it's a fun thing.
Do you go to all the events?
I try to go as many as I can, but
no doubt.
Being a family guy first.
You are big on the fam, which
right.
is awesome.
To me is, my kids come first.
Yeah.
And to me, that's how I approach it with my team, right? Because to me, it's a matter of, work is always going to be there. Mm-hmm. families needs to know you're going to be there. So I definitely make sure I try to do everything.
You're going to be at a lot of the events, but not every single
You got
one.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I
And if
know
it's
you're
not
gonna-
me, I tag team. So
Yeah.
someone on my team will be at that one. I'll be at this one, because at the end of the day, you divide and conquer.
Yeah.
And some of it is like, especially if it's my deeper connections, I try to make sure I'm there, because
Yeah.
we've made that chat or commitment.
What's the next event?
So the next one coming up is, so
Yeah, I
nothing-
know.
I'm like,
Kinda
wait,
put you on
September.
the spot,
October
yeah.
13th, we have our Parrot Heads Trivia Night.
Nice.
So there's still tickets available for that. And the day after that is the Hypnosis Niagara Comedy Night.
Day after.
Correct.
Back to back.
Saturday.
Nice. Sweet.
Yeah, we got a big one coming up for families. So any families listening to this is October 29th, which is a Sunday from 5 to 7. Central Community Center out in Niagara Lake off York Road, which is affiliated with Central Community Church, which essentially birthed us and started us, and that's where we came from. They're doing a trunk or treat family event. So there's cars decorated out in the parking lot. It's a safe environment for you, free of charge, to go and bring your kids, collect candy in a safe environment from multiple cars that have entered. Some of them are businesses, some of them are families that, again, it's for fun and decorated.
Nice.
And Calm Crew is running the barbecue. And I'm having my friend Jeffy T Taco on Instagram. He's like Instagram famous. Do the
He does
barbecue
some good
with
things
us.
on there.
Oh my God. So it honestly, traditionally when you do a charity barbecue, you're like a hamburger and a hot dog. Here you go. Thank you. Goodbye. Have a good day. For me, it's like, no, we want to amp this up.
I like it.
Like, I love barbecue, like real barbecue. So Jeffy T Taco is going to do shredded chicken, shredded pork or pulled pork on a bun with some, chips in a takeout container. So even if you want to pop by and grab takeout, all for $5.
That's
so
amazing.
Super cheap, but because for us, for most of it's all 100% donated by community partners. And we want it to be a community event where people come and say, it is about connection, right? Connecting to each other and helping these kids connect to a greater purpose for them and a calling that essentially says they were meant for more and who they were created to be. And we're all going to be a part of that. Whether you donate here or there, you buy this, you do that, you do the many seeds, there's all ways to be connected to helping these kids together.
That's amazing. What day is that one?
That one's October 29th, Sunday, 5 to 7.
Is the barbecue.
Barbecue and trunk or treat.
Both. It's two.
All things. So we're running the barbecue while basically
Gotcha.
families are running around and collecting candy.
So I can bring the nieces and nephew. They can go do candy stuff, and I'm going to be
can
eating
just
up all that good food.
Stuff the barbecue. Nom, 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 nom,
That
nom.
sounds amazing.
Oh, yeah, it's so good. I can't wait.
Yeah, that's a sweet one. And then that's as far as you got events planned for now.
Well, we've got some stuff in November. 43 North Group has picked us for Princess Ball, which used to be like the daddy-daughter ball, but now it's very inclusive and supportive.
Right.
I don't have the full details for that because we're going to get those. There's a Niagara Christmas that is in...
Hold on, before you go, 43 North, that is like Johnny Rocco's. That's Culinary Dropout. That's the Viscas and them. They have a bunch of restaurants in Niagara. Yeah, like I'm friends with them, so I'm like pretty stoked that you guys have something going on. Because when we last met, I kind of mentioned that they were people in the restaurant industry. So it's nice that hands off that the connection was made there.
Yeah, again, I'm blessed because good people, when they know good things are happening, like you, right?
Yeah.
When we talk,
Yeah.
it just takes that when you're in another conversation to
Totally.
be thought of
Yeah.
and be brought up in the, hey, did you know? Or, hey, did you hear about Coop doing, like, to me, that's how community gets better together, is just being thought of to try to better the community together.
Yeah, totally.
So Niagara Christmas is a big one that's put on by Central Community Center again as well. It's a 2-day event, 4 show, big on like crazy performance and music.
Wow.
So that's another thing, but we've got little events here and there. But those are some of the big crazy ones that we have up. There's October 2nd, is the Lena Naguini's and Fresco's golf tournament. But you have to register by, what date is it today?
Today's the 25th or 6th of September.
Yeah.
25th.
So I think you have
it's
to
close.
register by tomorrow, 26th.
Yeah, so this will be after them, but still.
Yeah. So
you guys have lots of stuff. And then like people, if they want to help, they could, like, can they help at events too? Like we're talking about how people can get involved. Like they can help with the actual program. I'm guessing volunteers are always needed for different events.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's hard because like sometimes we have to be mindful. Like if all of our volunteers are vetted, right? Especially if they're going to come in contact with children,
Right.
vulnerable sector,
Yeah,
all that
yeah.
kind of stuff. Because again, it's the kids that come first and making sure safety and security are first. So
Totally.
if an event has contact with kids, then our volunteers traditionally need to be passed through that process.
Yeah. Which
If-
means a criminal record check.
You got it. Now we
Yeah.
provide that. It's free because
Okay.
we do the letterhead and provide it to Niagara Regional Police.
Nice.
But that is a part of our process so that parents know that if we're ever in the schools or wherever at an event and again, their children are there, that they can at least know that we have things in place that essentially have vetted our volunteers to do that. Now, if people are going to volunteer once in a while to come and set up tables, for example, there's no kids around when we're doing our prep site. And so, some of those people, if it's a husband or, a family member that's just like, I'll just come and help you set up your tables. Some of that stuff we're like, hey, we don't have to put you through the whole rigmarole.
Yeah. Yeah.
But because we take any help when it comes to setting up the 30 plus tables that we traditionally have to set up,
Totally.
especially when it comes to muscles, because you know me.
Jack show. I love it.
So yeah, there's plenty of ways to help.
Yeah. That's sweet. Bro, good stuff.
Yeah.
I was just trying to think even more. So now we kind of talked about people, businesses. A big thing that they can do is monetary.
Or snack drives. Like I think people forget, like sometimes that's the easiest way to help, because if you just say, hey, we're going to, for the month of November, we'll set up a bin up in our office. And if people can go grocery shopping once a week and throw an extra, thing of granola bars in there, and all of a sudden it's full, you've now saved, helped us donate thousands of dollars worth of support.
So if a business was to do that and they put that at their place, what are the foods? Is it strictly granola bars that would be good in there, or what?
Yeah, I have a list so I can send it to them. It's part of our kit. And so there's suggested ones. And the reason why there's the suggested list is because of the allergies, right? So these are the major ones that can probably fit into the probably 90 to 95% of the choices.
But it's a little bit different, sorry to interrupt too, than just a food drive. Because I know sometimes like food drives, like I've done it myself. I go to the pantry. I'm like, oh, there's this can of beans that I haven't eaten that hasn't expired yet. But a can of beans wouldn't be a great help in this situation. There's like you said, there's some suggestions that will make it a lot easier for lunches.
You're right. So now sometimes when we do these, people still donate a craft dinner box or whatever.
Yeah.
And then we, believe it or not, actually just gather that and donate it to another charity. Because at the end of the day, there's tons of different shelters. So, for example, women's shelters and Circumstances, Birchway, whatever the case, where we kind of say, hey, there's other organizations that can use that. But traditionally, if you want to set them up for success, you send out here's the suggested. So here's your shopping list.
Yeah.
So when you're at Costco grabbing stuff for the family, or you're at, No Frills or Walmart, or, just grab an extra Mott's box.
You see these on sale, we can take it.
You got it.
Yeah.
So
That's nice for people to know what is key for you guys, because that makes it even easier. People know, and then they see that thing on sale. Maybe they buy one or two extra or whatever.
Yeah, and I think hopefully listeners have listened to this whole podcast, because it's a scary world out there, and a lot of people are afraid right now to talk reality, right? Talk, what is really happening out there, and I get choked up as a dad thinking, I can't imagine sending my kid to school with no food, but yet the number is about 1 in 4 to 1 in 5. And if you put that into a classroom setting, so this is across Niagara, I'm talking, so it's 1 in 4 to 1 in 5, depending on population and what data you use. But if you use that in context of a classroom, so your kids, your nieces, your nephews, your neighbors, they're going to a classroom with 25, 30 kids, maybe?
Somewhere in there.
Even if it's 20 kids. So in that classroom, that one classroom, there's probably 4 to 5 kids that are battling food insecurity.
It's crazy.
So
the
number is insane to really think about. Even if all you can do is the many seats, that's still good enough.
Yeah.
You can't feel bad about that.
Yeah.
Even if you say, well, I can only do 1 box of snacks, that's good enough.
Yeah.
If you say, well, I want to do more, then hey, we love it, we appreciate it, but every single choice, and even if it's not even any of that, and all you can say is, I'll share some social posts, I'll share this podcast.
Totally.
Because I think the more people recognize that they can make a difference, and there's no small way, there's no big way, it's every way.
Yeah.
It's just a choice of saying I can and will make a difference, and then you get to pick the how.
Yeah, exactly. Some support. And that's what I'm happy to do here too, because if anything, how I can help is any exposure that I can give with this. And that's why I'm trying to do this with you. I'm doing this for all different reasons. Like the podcast, I want to do this so that I can talk to people. One of the reasons I started this is a little bit off from you, is so I can talk to people that I find interesting and or that are smarter than me to teach me stuff. And that's almost everybody. So you're already doing both of that. And I like that, talking to people that are on some type of mission so that, I can give them some of this exposure to get that out there. So this is my little contribution at the moment to be able to do it. But yeah, I think that's amazing because you're absolutely right. People, any way that they can do to help, if they just find out about this cause and didn't know about it before, it'll be in their mind that this is out there and that there's so many different ways to help. Like I one of the things I wanted to ask you is like, where's Community Crew going? Like, what are you thinking? Because like, I guess that's hard to really predict. And like, you've kind of mentioned a little bit about just exploring a little bit with like high schools and stuff, but like, do you guys have like a goal or a focus of where you want to get to? Or I know that really depends on a lot of things, but it seems like you're going in a direction where you do have some thought of the future.
I do. And so when Calm Crew was started, it wasn't just supposed to be here's a lunch, thank you, have a good day. Mm-hmm. It was supposed to be so that these kids would know that another human being loved them, and that another human being saw them as another human being, right? And in that process, there's other things we can do for these kids. Community Crew is not supposed to just be a food program. There is tons of food programs. It happens to be our biggest component, but there's more we can be doing because we were started to actually try to reduce poverty. And that doesn't mean it's always food related. So there's projects right now that I'm working on that are to help with mental health, with financial literacy, with teaching life skills. We're also exploring a pilot project right now with some partners about an after school program, because traditionally that's when some of these kids are getting in the most trouble, is parents not paying attention, not home, working multiple jobs, circumstances. So there's gaps in helping these kids, but especially if we say, well, hey, it's grade 8. We've been helping you the last couple of years in food security, and then, graduation, yay. Like, see you later. Fly the coop.
Yeah.
No pun intended.
Yeah.
To me, that's not enough.
Yeah.
And I think that Calm Crew needs to recognize, and we have recognized, we have been having some very intense strategical, conversations around, how do we walk with these kids past that?
Yeah.
So through high school, and maybe we create a scholarship. Maybe it's like, so at the end of the day, my brain and my strategic thought process is like, I think we can do more if we believe in helping these kids transition through this.
Totally.
Because if you're food insecure today and graduating, is that going to change tomorrow?
No.
Like, is that going to change when you graduate?
No.
And then it's not going to change.
No.
The other thing we're doing, so there's a lot of things I can't really talk about yet, just because
cool.
they're pilot projects. We have to see.
It's cool.
But I'm engaging things like, trying to measure success is hard, especially when it comes to mental health. So I've engaged Pathstones, for example, and we're trying to work with them to be like, how do we gauge success for these kids, and did it really have an impact? But the one thing we've talked about is a lot of out of the 130,000 lunches we did last year, 22,000, I believe it was, were cultural or dietary restricted lunches. That number is probably projected to double this year, just because, especially with refugees and an influx to newcomers to Canada. And so one thing we noticed is, our notes that we're inspiring these kids, they're in English. Well, they need a translator sometimes to help, which is important still, so that they learn and adjust. Right. But imagine, even if it's once every so often, that child could get a note written in their own language.
Yeah, that'd be sweet.
So we're partnering with Niagara Folks Art and groups in Central Community Church and just other community pockets that have a native language that want to say, wait a minute, I can actually write an inspirational message in my own native language, and then it's going to get read by a kid that is going to give hope to that, being in Canada is an amazing thing, and there's people here that love you, and it's going to be okay. So yeah, we're on to bigger and better things
I like it.
after stabilizing what we do with the lunch program. And I think it's hard because, food costs dramatically rose. Donor dollars kind of came down a bit or stayed stagnant.
Yeah.
So when you have that happen,
Shrinking the gap.
you've got to try to say, well, we can't stop feeding kids. We can't stop providing what we've provided because we've been telling these kids, hey, you matter, you're loved. You've been getting these notes, and it becomes an expectation like this. I'm getting my Calm Crew lunch today, right? You hear these stories and it's exciting and uplifting.
Right.
And to say like, well, no, actually, because we're doing all this other stuff, we got to cut some schools, or we got to do, like, to me, you're taking your legs out
Yeah.
with building that kid up to what the potential is that they're supposed to be and they were created to be.
Yeah.
So I think stabilizing, and then the pilot projects are now run it, see it, do it. And then you go to a business and say, look, we have a model here. It works. We have tangible evidence that this is the impact it has on these kids.
Yeah.
Here's what I want from you in money or time or energy or resources.
Yeah.
And here's what you're going to get for it.
Yeah.
In addition to this is the impact for the kid.
How long have you guys been around again?
2015.
2015. So that's 8 years. Because I'm just thinking ahead with you a little bit. Because a little things with me is I think, like, you guys are doing amazing thing. Step one is you're given, I'm going to use a little bit of the metaphor, but fish. But if you're 8 years in, and if you can do all this positive stuff and teach them how to fish, and then some of these kids come back and they're part of the program to help later, that's really going to help the growth later with more people, right? Because you guys have only been around 8 years. That's still relatively new for a charity, I'm guessing, right?
Yeah. So part of my strategic analysis, one of the things when I said, like, what happens after grade 8?
Yeah.
And then how do you use a metric to understand? Well, it's funny that you bring that up because I wrote that down. I said, imagine we've walked with these kids to grade 8, but now we say, hey, by the way, you need volunteer hours for high school. Why don't you come on your March break, or you come if you can? Like, so now it's a circle of support where kids are helping kids.
Exactly.
And I've got other avenues where I'm going to potentially be teaching life skills that are going to impact our program, but I have to get things up and running in order to do those things. But to your point, yes, it's the hand up, not the hand out.
Yeah.
Right. So same thing when you teach a person to fish.
Yeah.
It's a lot better that they'll actually survive over a period of time as opposed to just, hey, here's a fish.
Totally. And that's why if you can keep growing this organization as you are, there's a lot of chances for exponential growth with being able to handle all those focuses and goals that you're talking about later, because there will be people, I don't know, it's still relatively young. There's still kids that probably from the time it started are still in grade school, right? How long are you in grade school for? Like 10 years or whatever?
Yeah, depending if senior kindergarten, junior kindergarten, whatever. But yeah.
So like I can only imagine another 8 years from now where there's some kids that it won't even be that long, and that they can be helping out, and that'll just create a lot of growth. That'll be awesome.
Oh yeah. Good. You know what? I believe, great people get together and they can do unstoppable things.
Yeah, totally. Bro, this is awesome.
Awesome.
I don't even know if I want to end it yet or not, or like I've kind of been in the zone here. Is there any things that you want to talk about in addition to this stuff?
No, I think just
because what I always find funny too, even before you say something, is as soon as the podcast's over, people kind of lean back, and then the conversation's still gold after. So not that we have to shut her down, but yeah.
No, I just first is thank you.
Yeah, of course, bro.
Because again, I think great people getting together and doing unstoppable things is just a part of my process in my own brain and however I can help people. And I think, that's kudos to you and how you run your business, but also how your leadership.
Yeah. Thank you.
So that's a huge thank you. And then secondly is, what you do for your clients is a direct proportion of the impact of reality, right? You budget with them, you go through costs, you go through all the things that essentially say this is part of the process to make sure they're setting themselves up for success. And that's actually some of the same conversations we have, right, with our schools and our business partners, and teaching these kids. They're going to have to go through the same budgeting process down the road. So the more financial literacy people have, the better it is as we move forward in uncertain economic circumstances and times, especially with the housing market, rent analysis, rent versus buys,
Totally.
investment income properties, passive income, all those things that essentially people have to consider about, who, the what, and the why. But, for me, I also want to tie it back to, inflation's caused a lot of problems for people.
Totally.
But it doesn't change the fact that when people are caring and giving, they're going to find a way to do it. It's just got to figure out what and where and why,
How.
and the how.
Yeah.
So, I just wanted to bring it back to the housing component and the budget and money, because, good people find a way to give.
Well, I love how you gave these options, bro. Somebody that is even people that are in need of this can use many seeds to be helping.
Even if they're
the
getting a lunch
organization.
right now from
Yeah,
us.
anybody can do that. And I actually want to bring up this part a little bit. It's kind of a pivot, but I put out a story the other day. One of the challenges I get is I get asked for donations often. Money, whatever. And like right now it seems like we're in the thick of it, but I would say on average, I probably get asked once a week. And like some weeks, I think last week, I got asked 8 times for donations. And I think I'm average generous, but I find it's difficult on how to.
What do you say no?
Right. So I want you to just like think about that with me for a second. Like how should I or how should anybody handle that? Because there are a lot of good causes out there. There's a lot of people in need of all different things. I think there's a lot of ways, like you said, anybody listening to this, the bare minimum they could do is nothing, I guess. But if they want to do something, is many seeds. But I find it challenging. And I'll tell you the way I handle it, and it still becomes challenging. The way I handle donations, because I get asked, like I said, I get hit up for Stag and Dose. I get hit up from schools, from charities, for events. I don't even know. I get them from people calling me, texting me. I get emails from people I've never met before.
Yep.
Which those ones I find a little bit frustrating. I understand, but I find it a little bit frustrating. I still like to say yes. I think there's not many. I don't think I say no to anyone because I have a solution from myself that I came up with to help me, but not everybody likes it. But the way I handle it is I have a corporate membership at Whiskey Run. I don't know. I'm sure you know.
Yeah,
yeah. And I get 4 rounds of golf a day as part of my corporate membership. So anytime somebody asks me for a donation, that's what I give them. I give them a round of golf. It's worth $200, I think, about to Whiskey Run, and they can use it as a penny thing. They can raffle it. They can sell it. I don't care what they do with it. If it's worth $200, and to me, it doesn't cost me $200 because I've already bought it up front. So the more I use it, actually brings down the per unit cost. But that's the way I kind of handle it. But I've had some people say to me, no, I'm looking for money. And I'm like,
yeah, I think so. This is going to get worse. So first of all, you're going into the giving season, right? So giving season's always the end of the year. Everyone's trying to make, quotas and budgets and submit, grants and requests. And this is like traditionally, this is like where you're getting. So it's this time and the beginning of the year because new budgets for corporations.
And I almost feel like an asshole even saying this because I want to give as much as I can, but then when people where's the lines, right?
Here's you can't pour from an empty cup.
Yeah, for sure.
So, and I'm guilty of this myself. I've always given $20 here, $10 here. And if you notice, and I'm sure all of us do, now it's even worse because you're at the grocery store, you're at Walmart, you're at any store. Would you like to donate $1 today? Would you like to donate that? Would you like to donate for that? Would you like to donate? And so it used to be where, you might have a thing out front and you put $1 in or whatever. But now it's like every time in your face. Give $1. You add all that up, and it can get a
adds
little
up.
bit daunting.
Totally.
And on top of that, those corporations are actually gathering all that and submitting it and getting basically a write-off for that, right? So,
Yeah.
so you're not getting a benefit for it. You're not getting a tax receipt because
Yeah.
it was $1 here, $1 there. You're seeing more and more of the trend over the last little bit is connecting with a cause. And I say that because there could be more than one cause that you really resonate with. So, for example, Hotel du Shaver for me is a huge connection piece, not only because of the hockey excitement that comes with it, or one event of many that they do, but I've seen it live in action of what they do and then the amount of money and time that goes into those resources. Community Crew, I've been a part of donating since it started when I was in the banks, volunteering as much as I can. I was volunteering when I retired from the banks in 2021. And then obviously I took over leadership in 2023, this year. So for me, I would say find your causes, right? Because you should try to focus dollars on what matters to you. But if you're the type that's happy with saying, here's $10, here's $5, whatever, and all of us do that, Stag and Does and whatever.
Yeah.
But from a charity's perspective, that's fine. But as a business model, it's tough because you can either do a lot of little things, or you can focus your strategic analysis with like specific cause directives, which you're seeing. If you go on corporations' websites now, usually we'll see, here's where we give. Youth sports, youth programs, ending poverty. So you have to fit within that in order to receive a potential donation, but you have to apply.
Yeah.
Because then what they do is they take all the applicants and then say, okay, and they have usually a committee or a voting process to do that. But that's a way to essentially make sure your money's having the direct impact that you think it's going to. But is there a right or a wrong? No. Like it really comes down to the individual. I have learned from myself. Sometimes I give not because of the charity, I give because of the person. So my friends sometimes will be like, hey, I'm doing this ride for this, and can you sponsor me? Sometimes it's not about the charity.
Yeah.
It's about the person.
Yeah.
I owe it to them because to me, they made me a better person in my life. And $20 or $25 donation with a tax receipt, usually, it's not about the charity.
Yeah.
It's great that it's a good cause, but it's about the person. And I've learned.
I feel that. So, I know, and I get a lot of those too. And it's like, holy.
But after you do that for every person it can get tiresome and daunting. So I think for me, it's like you can't feel guilty. Giving isn't supposed to be something that's an expectation.
Yeah, totally.
So the fact that you struggle, just like I do, if I say no for whatever reason, especially for a monetary component, that's normal.
Yeah.
We have to normalize like no is okay.
Yeah.
Thank you for having the confidence to ask me.
Yeah.
But secondly, I'm okay. Like sometimes I have to say no.
Yeah.
And it's not anything to do with you or an offense or anything. It's just right now the answer is no. Maybe if you ask me in 6 months, I might have a different budget or circumstances or.
Yeah, totally. Totally.
But yeah, it's a fine line.
Yeah. And see, like, I find that interesting because being in that line of work, like sometimes you're going to get no's for any of the reasons, right?
But a no right now doesn't mean a no forever.
Totally.
So I try and explain that to my team.
Yeah.
Is just because someone might have said no to an event, for example.
Yeah.
That doesn't mean they don't believe in our cause. That doesn't mean that they don't still want to be a part of what we do. That doesn't mean that essentially they're not on our newsletter and find another thing that resonates with them. It could just be that it's bad timing. They've allocated their budget. They got family stuff. You know how many times we've had people be like, I'm sorry, like I didn't respond to that email or I didn't do this or I said no or I seemed cranky. Because people are dealing with real life shit.
Yeah, totally. Totally.
Like people are dying.
Totally.
People are getting diagnosed with cancers, fighting stuff, that silent battles, mental health, right? Like, and quite frankly, COVID especially, people couldn't even do a grieving process properly.
It's crazy. Yeah.
So, yeah, it's a crazy world. But I know today doesn't mean no forever.
Yeah.
But maybe it does. Maybe that person's just literally like, just don't ask me again.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then you just literally close the book on that chapter and you move forward. Other than that, you again, crush with kindness and thank them because time is, and I usually end my coffee chats with, thanks for the time.
Yeah.
Time is something none of us is ever going to get back. So right now, right? This time, you know, if I don't wake up tomorrow, I'll know that I spent it with good company talking about amazing things.
True that.
And that's something that's to be gratitude and thankful for is the time component. So
See, if people didn't know at the beginning when I said you were a good guy, they definitely know it now.
just because I said if I didn't wake up tomorrow, I'd still be knowing that I was in good company.
No doubt. No, you're hilarious. Bro, this was sick. Anything else?
No, are you ready for Sunday?
What, Bills, Dolphins?
70 points. 70.
So, you know what's funny? Like, maybe, I don't know if you remember, I cheer for different football teams.
49ers? No.
I've been a Dolphins fan.
What?
I've been a Bills fan. I've been all kinds of football fans.
You're just jumping from one bandwagon to
So listen, let me help clarify some of this. Okay, we're off the charity for a bit of stuff. The first football team I ever did cheer for was the Bills. Back when we were in grade school. And I was rooting for the home team when they lost the 4 Super Bowls. And somewhere after them losing 4, I started cheering for the Dolphins.
But then what happened?
Well, I mean, and then back in the day, we used to play back in Waynfleet a lot of game day, NFL game day 2000, I think. And I used to always play with the Dolphins with Marino, and I crushed. I was the best.
The man.
Yeah, I was the best. Number 17, I'm pretty sure.
13.
13. Okay. I was close.
Lucky number 13.
Yeah. I always still have a spot for the Bills, and still even now. But along the way, like fantasy football and then dabbling with some sports betting, I just like to cheer wherever I've got the money on. And like the Bills, I'm back, but I still like the Dolphins too. I'm not like
I don't know who you are anymore.
I'm not a diehard to any team.
No, all good.
Yeah.
But you got it. So you
The
have
Leafs
to
a little
admit,
bit.
You got to admit,
Yeah, 70 points was crazy.
Jim Kelly, Dan Marino era rivalry is back on now. Like the Tua and Josh Allen is like offense and craziness in the defense of the Bills. Like I just feel like that rivalry is back where now I don't have to like shrink my head when I say I'm a Dolphins fan and people are like, ha ha, or like, you know, the Simpsons like, ha ha.
70 points.
That's
That's the most points scored in a while. I haven't seen a score like that.
Since like the 60s, I think it said.
And the Dolphins are the only team to have an undefeated record.
1972, baby.
Yeah, I knew that one. I remember that's a good one.
So
they're playing, where's the game?
In Buffalo.
Yeah? Wow, that'll be a fun
Thankfully,
one.
it's not a cold weather game.
Yeah, that'll be an interesting one. So not Squish the Fish.
Well, you say that. I'm going to say a dolphin's not a fish anyways. It's a mammal. But I've heard it all my life. I love it. I honestly, all my Bills buddies are all, obviously, like,
Yeah, totally.
I think I'm
Border
like,
town.
there's maybe 4 of us that are Dolphins fans. And
Who else is on the Dolphin train?
just people I've connected with, not from like high school or anything else.
Okay.
One grade school buddy. And that pretty much else is like adult life, just running into people.
I've definitely gone to multiple Bills games wearing Dolphins jerseys, just so you know, at least.
And you survived.
Yeah. One was hilarious because I was sitting up pretty high. It was December 23rd, I believe. It was a cold winter game. Who was the quarterback for the Dolphins back then?
Oh my God.
It was a Jewish quarterback. I'm pretty sure, because what sign I brought with me was hilarious. I had Happy Hanukkah I'm pretty sure he was the quarterback, and I was holding it up, and all the Bills fans were getting mad at me until I turned around and they seen the sign. It was like, they were like, oh, what do we say now?
Yeah.
So that was a good time, but yeah.
I'm trying to think of who it could have been. There's been so many, like literally I've seen a meme where it's like all the quarterbacks since Dan Marino and the whole bed was full of jerseys.
Yeah, tons.
Yeah. Oh, it's
Tons.
honestly, it's sickening to think about it.
Fiedler? I don't remember.
Yeah. Jay Fiedler.
Jay Fiedler?
He was in there. Trent Green, Dante Culpepper. Like we've had like
Fiedler, I think, was the one that I had the sign
I'll
for.
have to Google it after. Now you gave me a trivia question to make sure I know the answers
There
to.
you go. And like it was such a funny because Happy Hanukkah, and it was a dolphin wearing a Santa Claus hat. So there's just a bunch of Joe craziness going on the sign. So the Bills fans didn't know how to react to that one.
But that's good though, because I think there's been a couple games where I was like, somebody wanted to fight me.
Yeah, no doubt.
Thankfully, I was
had
with
snowballs.
Bills buddies because, and I would never go by myself.
Oh, that's
'Cause-
crazy.
yeah.
Might not come back.
But it's not just a Bills thing, but
Yeah.
yeah, it's one of those that you just, if you're an opposing team, you just definitely have allies with you.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, I'm excited. This is the first time I felt like football for me, for the Dolphins, has been like, okay, like
It's been a while.
this is normal. This is what competitive, just normal feels like, as opposed to being like, there's our season. Yeah, maybe we'll win 6-7 games.
Are they 2-0 so far?
3-0.
3-0.
We're undefeated.
There's
You
been
guys are
3
2-1.
games already? Oh, interesting. You guys, bro. I'm on like all the
No,
teams.
no.
I'm not a diehard Dolphins fan, so I'm
What jersey are you going to wear on Sunday?
probably none. Probably none.
You got to get a right choice jersey.
Yeah, right choice. I don't even know. Sunday, I'll be going to Vegas actually, so I don't even know. But I think at nighttime. What time's the game? It's a 1 o'clock
game. Well, unless they like super flex it, but I doubt it.
Yeah,
Because I think it's too late. I think they have to give so many days notice to flex it.
I don't even know what that means. What make it a night
NFL, if
game?
they think they're going to make more viewership or make more money, essentially,
they'll push it back.
they could push it to like a more prime time, like 4 or later or whatever, depending on time slots.
What would be a bigger matchup this week? I don't even know.
That's like the biggest matchup right now.
So it might get pushed back. They got to do
could
it sometime soon anyway, right? I'm sure they got to do.
We would
that.
find out what's we would find out ASAP, because I think they have to have 5 days notice or whatever, because it screws with time schedules and broadcasting. But
So you're Dolphins fan, Leafs fan, Jays fan.
yep.
Can the Jays still make the playoffs?
Oh, they can. The question, like, this is where I've been struggling with, right? Is I think, and any fan should be thinking the same thought process. Is like, everybody wants to get in, because once you're in, you have a chance, but you got to get hot going into that, especially in a wild card role. So the Jays are inconsistent right now. That we have to get hot. Like, I got to feel like when we're going to the playoffs, like, it's not going to be this like one and done. Thank you very much. I can't believe we waited the whole season to get to that component, because we've had a couple of those seasons. So do I think we can get in? Sure. It's a tight race.
Yeah.
But that's the whole point. What I'm saying is, if we got to get hot, like, now is the time to everybody to step up, fire in all cylinders, and then show that you can just run the table and run the gauntlet, whatever terminology you want. But
How many games left in the season?
I think we only have 2 series left with like the Yankees and the
close.
Rays.
It's like 7, 8, or 6, 8 games or whatever.
Yeah, I think there's like 8, 4, and 4. I think of the 2 series.
Interesting. Okay, so it's not quite done. Did you follow the? I don't know if there's a 40 team. I'm guessing not. But
Cannons.
Cannons.
Oh, the
but
Jackfish. That's amazing.
Yeah, that was fun. I went out to a couple of those games. They put on a really good show. The Jackfish, I'm actually like pretty impressed with the organization, because I went to 2 games this year and it's super entertaining. I think they're doing a great job over there.
Yeah, they've definitely highlighted like true entertainment.
Yeah.
and value for your ticket.
Yeah.
I actually reached out to them in an email to not only congratulate them, because I went to a couple games, because the kids love, well, I should say my bonus son loves baseball, especially. Nice. And so for me, I'm like, but they've done so much community work too. So if you saw their community posts, where how much money, time, energy, resources, whether it be food bank donations, whatever, they've raised for the community, it's insane.
Yeah.
For being, again, you're sitting here saying, well, what could they have done? Well, they did amazing. So not only in the attendance record, the championship, but giving back to the community. So I've reached out to them to be like, hey, Welland actually is one of our biggest areas that have grown over the last year and change. So out of the 4,000 lunches last year a week, 1,100 lunches were in the Welland component.
Wow.
So 30% of what we do is Welland. So to me, it was like, that's a huge tie-in to be like, hey, maybe we can do something where essentially that's supporting the Welland community, Welland support. So, but it's honestly, every time a level like that succeeds in your community,
It's awesome.
Doesn't matter what sport it is.
Yeah.
You know, it rallies people together. It's
Totally.
interesting because I don't know about you, but during COVID, when everybody was complaining about like not having sports and who cares, like how much, like who cares because it doesn't
Right.
matter. Being a sports guy, like for me, it's like it is a mental health thing. Like I love what sports has done for my life, the friends that I've met through sports, and the friends that have become family. So to me, I struggled. I'm not going to lie that, you know, not having a connection point like that, not being able to play hockey, even though it's not competitive, it's just fun, social connection.
Yeah.
So yeah, I struggled, and I think a lot of people did, and that's why they try to fast track getting sports back up and running.
It's a great component for everyone for all different reasons. Yeah, people that said that, they just don't know. They just don't know.
Yeah.
I think I have before my last question, anybody that's still here, to remind them where they can find you. You said communitycrew.ca.
Correct. So that's our website. You can find us on Facebook, Instagram, just Google Community Crew.
And it's going to come up.
Not to be compared to Community Care, in case you're just typing quickly. Community Care does amazing work, not taking anything away from there, but often
Different organization.
Are
they in Niagara?
Yep.
Oh,
yeah.
okay.
So they're like,
Gotcha.
you know, do all kinds of food bank and circumstances for there. But the names are so similar, people tend to interject the two together. You can also just email me. So I'm Stephen, Stephen, Stephen at communitycrew.ca. Happy to chat, talk, go for coffee, talk synergy, talk partner plan. One of the things I didn't talk about, but if you're a corporation listening and still listening, you know, we have a partner plan. So if you want to donate $5,000 or more, we actually cater the plan to you, where we actually work on busing kids to your place of business, doing a whole, like, you know, showing these kids that there's a whole different life. So it could be career, it could be, again, financial literacy, could be a life skill component. So I'll give you an example. One of the partners we brought people to in the past was Bosch Rexroth here in Welland.
Oh, wow.
And they did a whole amazing tour of the factory, showed them essentially manufacturing trades. Like, again, you're talking about inspiring these kids. There's all kinds of routes that you can inspire them to do and to be more. And then they gave them a kit for a gingerbread kit because it was around Christmas time. So we create that per business.
Nice.
So if your business is saying, I don't just want to donate money and it be thanks for the donation, social post, I feel better about myself. But if you actually want to have a true impact with these kids, we'll do that with you.
That's awesome.
That there's a way. So that's just talk. I would welcome and appreciate any conversations right now. Toss me an email, connect with me on LinkedIn, whatever the case may be. But the main thing is again, even just sharing what we do. Yeah. This is a prime example. If, you know, friends, families, connections, circumstances want to be like, hey, you know, how can I help? And even it's just sharing. That's, to me, that's the prime benefit.
I'll play off of that. How many people over at the organization, roughly? I guess.
So staffing is only 4. Volunteers are closer to 80.
Wow. So like a good thing to do, just like you're saying, I don't know if you send out a blast email to anyone or whatever.
Yeah,
but
we do.
When this gets posted, if you encourage all of them to share this, and like that's a healthy impact. Yeah. Because you're absolutely right that I think that there's definitely a component, a percentage of people that have no idea this exists. I know that there's people that do, but at one point I was one of the ones. So just getting that exposure to it in one facet or another, they'll go down the Community Crew rabbit hole and see all the good things, and something good will come out on the other side.
Oh yeah. Even if out of this, it's just this.
Yeah, we've won.
It's a win for me.
Yeah.
And the two part is that even if one child, because one person signs up for the 12 for 12, or one person says, hey, I'm going to volunteer, even if one thing happens from this conversation,
one writing note, it
doesn't matter to me. That's one child at least that's going to have a different life, that they're going to have a life transformation happen, because the cards they got dealt in life doesn't have to be the cards they have to play for the rest of their life.
Totally. My last fun question. If you were on death row, what would your meal be?
This is a great question. I love food. Also, again, another plug for Jeffy T Taco because like every time I watch his Instagram, I'm like drooling.
Nice.
Especially all the smoked meats and stuff he does. And he's going to be doing that like
October
pickling
29th.
October 29th.
I have to make sure I put that in my calendar.
Even if you just come get takeout, it's going to be worth it.
I can't see how I'm not doing that.
Man, that's a great question. So I'm on another all.
Which you would never be.
No,
like
I
me
know.
asking the question.
Well,
I
you
have
never
my
know.
odds.
Somebody touches my kids.
Okay, no,
All hands off.
death row.
Death row. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, yeah.
Yeah,
So
I don't think
kids
you would
don't
make it
touch.
to death row by that.
I
but
would. Yeah.
It's me asking the question. Like me, I got way higher odds of being on death row than you. You is like -%.
Oh my God. I'm trying to struggle with this. Like I love pierogies. I love starch. So like I love my pastas. I love my naan bread pizzas I make.
So if it was pierogies, who would make them?
Oh, I'd have to go to the Polish Legion.
That's
Like
where it's
that's like hardcore.
at? Where in St. Catharines?
Yeah.
Do they have a pierogi night?
They do. I just saw a social post. It's coming up. I'd have to look up the date for you, but
That's okay. That's all good. Polish Legion, because I love pierogies.
Oh my God,
too.
so good.
I have Polish friends.
yeah.
So is it like once a month or once a year?
don't know.
It's okay. Polish
Yeah.
Legion, pierogi night.
Yeah.
Pierogi. I'm going to look in.
They just posted it.
That's not even how you say pierogi. I forget how you actually say it. But
Nobody can see it. It's okay. You can be like, yes, I spelled it correctly.
so the pierogies you like potato and cheese with onions and sour cream?
Bacon bits.
Bacon bits,
Bacon.
okay.
I love my bacon. Actually, you know what? I would just have a whole, like if I'm going to go,
Yeah, you're
I'm
going.
going clogging my arteries. I just thought of that now. Just a
Yeah.
whole plate of bacon. just give me it. I
That's
love bacon.
Yeah?
Yeah. Bacon makes everything better, man.
so. Would you want any of your starch? Some bread with that?
Yeah.
Some ketchup?
I love
some
garlic
mayo?
bread. Yeah, I don't know. It's honestly, I don't know. Like I think I have to like really, really sit down. Like old school me would have said steak and lobster, right? Like I love seafood, but I've had lobster and seafood where it's like not true seafood. So then I'm like, do I really want that? Like I went to Boston. And had lobster every day, and it's fresh and it's amazing. And I would say to anybody, first of all, Boston's an amazing city to visit.
Yeah, it is.
Horrible sports teams, but no, I'm just kidding. It was honestly a great visit. Tons of architecture.
Oh yeah, I went once last year with Kevin. Loved it for a couple of days.
Yeah, I would go back.
Yeah,
it was
I'm
that.
going
There's
back too,
too
yeah.
much things
Yeah.
to do.
Yeah, clam chowder.
Yes, I literally had like lobster mac and cheese and everything else. So I love my seafood, but is that enough to say like that would be like, so if I could get that lobster for sure and guarantee it, I would say lobster. Otherwise,
I'll help with the parameters a little bit, because when I ask this to people, sometimes they think that all they can do is pick one thing. But
so I'm gonna have like a smorgasbord.
I think so. If we're making up this fictitious death row,
Oh, well,
you're
then I'm
never
going
going to be on.
sushi, lobster, pizza, but like super good and delicious pizza, like
From where?
Joey's.
Oh,
Do you remember
wow.
Joey's Pizza?
How could I forget? Of course.
Oh my God. Like I miss that place so bad. It was so bad.
You can have a Joey's Pizza, by the way.
What? How?
Let's pause this for once.
Yeah.
Well, not pause, but okay. Have you heard of Aldo's Pizza Sauce? It's a guy in Niagara Falls. I had him on here, actually. He was like my second guest when I came back. He makes Aldo's Pizza Sauce. He sells it. You can buy it in stores, whatever. He worked at Joey's Pizza for 15 years or something, a bunch of years. And if you can convince him somehow to make you a pizza, it is the closest thing you'll get to it. Because he sells the sauce. He's a teacher at I think Niagara Falls High School, St. Paul, maybe St. Mike, whatever. But he sells the sauce. I seen him online. I said, I want to come and try your sauce a couple of years ago or whatever. He's like, while you're here picking up the sauce, I'm going to give you a pizza. Obviously, I'm not going to say no.
Yeah.
And when I took the pizza, I had my whole family with me. We opened it up in the car. We weren't even on the driveway. I took a bite, and I'm like, this tastes like Joey's Pizza. And I'm like, Joey's Pizza / Antonio's in Welland. And I called him and I told him. He's like, I worked at Joey's. And I'm like, I had no idea.
You didn't even know. Yeah.
Didn't even know. So if there's any way you can get your hands on all those pizzas.
All those pizzas.
I don't know how you do it.
I got connections.
Yeah, but if you talk to Aldo somehow to get a pizza, I hope I don't ruin it for you. Like somebody telling you it's the best movie they've ever seen, you watch it and you don't like it. But there's no way that you would have it and not like the pizza. But for me, I had no idea you worked there, and I'm like, this is Joey's, and it turned out. So,
All right.
okay,
So
back.
sushi, lobster. I love sushi. Lobster, pizza, and pierogies. I would, yeah.
And a plate full of bacon.
Bacon's right here. This whole section is like just a giant thing of bacon.
Well, so when before you put ketchup or maple syrup on the bacon,
Well, I just eat it like
Just straight
hardcore,
up?
just straight up, just not on the rocks or anything.
yeah. Yeah, one of my favorites with bacon is first of all getting bacon from a farmer like
Oh, yeah.
Wainfleet, putting it on toast with mayonnaise and in season picked in Wainfleet or wherever tomatoes with salt, pepper, and some cheddar cheese. And that's like I guess some lettuce would be good on there too if you want to make it healthy.
You know what I've seen? It totally is me. It's like here's my salad with bacon. It's a whole bowl of bacon with this little piece of lettuce on the top. That's it. Like that's my bacon salad.
I
Yeah.
like that.
No, thank you.
I like that.
I mean, I do. Well, I'll eat a salad with bacon bits and it's fine. But then I'm kind of like,
Where's the
where's the
bacon?
real bacon? Because it's fake bacon bits probably. And
Yeah.
it's not from a farm. Because I agree the same thing. I find those bacons from the farmer
Oh,
a million times better than I don't think. Actually, I can't even remember the last time I bought a package of bacon from the store.
Really?
The last time, which would have been probably over 5 years ago, I cooked it and it was like so water content filled that it went. Oh, it's a mini little baby bacon.
that's
Right?
it.
That's it. Like,
Yeah.
why?
Yeah.
Like to me, then the price of it is ridiculous.
Yeah.
So I traditionally will buy when people do the fundraisers, and I know that it's coming from a local butcher,
Big
but it also helps a charity
Yeah.
at the same time because you know how I am.
Yeah.
So and tons of people are doing those for sports teams or whatever the case may be. But yeah, bacon and butter make the world better.
Love it. So I'm just gonna end with many seats. Let's get that app. Enjoy
Easiest
that
way to
whenever.
help.
That I think that's absolutely amazing. I'm gonna have it before you're out of my driveway.
Perfect.
Coop, this was awesome.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Really appreciate it.